Smokepit Fairytales by Trip Ainsworth. Chapter 8. Between a rock and a hard place. Cockstrong warrior man gods. I faded back into consciousness. My head pounded, my vision was blurry. My whole body ached. The muffled sounds of fire and Marine screaming orders thumped my ears. It was dark. The orange glow of flames illuminated the sand. I raised my hands, rubbed my face, and felt a painful tug on my arm. I had in an IV. I was propped up behind our truck. Doc was tying a tourniquet on Char's arm. When Doc saw that I was awake, he patted my shoulder.
You're gonna be alright, Hank. You're not hit bad.
He went back to work on Char. I closed my eyes hard enough to touch my cheeks with my eyebrows. What the fuck happened? I looked down at my arms. My uniform was singed and ripped. I had a bunch of shrapnel on my flak jacket.
Did we get hit with an artillery round? Where's Kyle and the Fonz? How far into the city are we? How close is that damn 50 caliber firing? Where's my rifle?
I felt my heart flatline. Doc? Doc shot me a concerned look.
What, man?
Where the fuck is my rifle?
It's in the truck.
Fuck me. I patted myself down and yanked the IV out of my arms. My sleeve was still sliced open up to my elbow. I looked up. Fonzie was firing 50 cal like a demon from the turret. Where's Kyle?
Calling in a 9-line for Char.
I came up to Neil from being sprawled out on the ground in a half-sitting prop. He alright?
Yeah, he's gonna be okay.
Doc wrote the time he applied the tourniquet on Char's face with a Sharpie.
He's just concussed and needs blood. He's probably not even gonna go home for this. He'll just be out of the fight for a week or two.
Lucky fuck.
Yeah, and you need to lose weight. I had to drag your fat ass out of the truck.
Shut up, it's the flak jacket. I defended myself.
Yeah, okay. All 300 pounds of it, right?
There was another truck pulled next to us for additional security. It looked like McBland was in the turret, but I couldn't tell. The passenger side door was open. Sergeant Fowler jumped to the deck and ran to us.
How's it going, fuckers?
Char's out, but he'll be okay.
Kyle came back from the front of the truck.
I just called in the 9-line. Birds 5 mics out. Sergeant Fowler, got any chem lights?
Fowler reached into his pocket and produced 5 glow sticks.
Thanks.
Kyle took 2 and cracked the sticks to make them glow, shook them up, and tied them to a length of cord.
Hank! You got your poncho?
Yeah! I scrambled to my seat in the truck and pulled out my Alice pack and rifle. Fonzie stopped shooting, loaded another can of ammo, and sent another 100 little presents to the enemy. I don't think there was a second the entire time he was up there that he wasn't swearing. Kyle took his lights and ran about 50 meters to our rear. He took one end of the cord and spun it so the glow sticks drew a circle in the night. The helicopter descended to the earth, sending a wave of sand and soot in all directions. We wrapped Char in my poncho, and as soon as the bird landed, Doc Fowler and I ran into the chopper. When we passed Kyle, he grabbed an edge of the poncho and assisted our labor. We put Char on the floor, and Doc screamed something to the crew chief. The crew chief nodded and gave Doc a thumbs up. We ran back into the night.
Get all your shit out of the truck and load it in mine,
Fowler ordered. Frantically, we grabbed anything worth taking out of our vehicle and threw it in Fowler's: water, ammo, chow, and our gear. Fonzie finished off the belt of ammo and started taking down the weapon. Our truck looked like an aluminum can that caught the wrong end of a lawnmower. I don't know how the fuck we got away as luckily as we did. Fowler tossed an incendiary grenade in our truck and we loaded up in his. The rest of the platoon was only 100 meters in front of us. Now, I know what you're thinking. Wow, Dix just left you there. But when you're under that kind of fire, your main objective is getting out of the kill zone. They wouldn't have been much good to us if they were dead too. Fowler's MRAP was packed. There were seats for 8 Marines in the back, but the designer's idea of a Marine is about 80 pounds and gearless. It was about as tight as a Virgin Dolphin snatch. The line companies had already started into the first line of the buildings, kicking in doors and teeth. Another shit city. Beige buildings no taller than 5 stories. Holes and fire in the walls. Glass, blood and shell casings littered the streets. Muzzle flashes lit up inside the buildings around us. We didn't fire into them. We couldn't tell just from the flashes if their fire was theirs or ours. The radio came back to life with orders from the Surbot.
Vehicle commanders, leave your radios with your drivers until your gunners provide cover and fire. Everyone else, follow me.
Another voice inquired.
Say again?
The Surbot came back screaming.
You're never gonna get that purple heart just sitting in a truck. Now come on, you sons of bitches.
We poured out of the vehicle and ran to the wall to try to catch up to the lieutenant. We started taking fire. Everyone dove to cover, except for the Surbot. He raised his weapon and fired back alone in the open. The rest of us fired from behind cover. The lieutenant radioed back to the trucks, directing their fire. The face of the building in front of us fell apart like mud on a tire at a car wash. The Serbot kept firing, closing the distance between himself and the building.
Goddamn crazy ass motherfucker.
Kyle mumbled. Fonzie said, "I'm telling you, man, the Serbot's a dip-powered robot from the future sent back to save mankind." When the lieutenant started getting further away from the platoon, we all stood up and ran after him. Enemy fire erupted from the buildings around us, and we, Cat 1, 2-7, the cockstrong warrior man gods, charged full force into the jaws of death. We hit the building full force. We lined up and slammed our shoulders into the wall. The Marines at the front of the line threw in a grenade. Not even a full second after the explosion, we poured in through the door. Marines shouted,
Left side clear.
"Right side clear!" And we split up in teams of 4 to 6 into the adjacent rooms. I followed Fowler and the Fonz into the next doorway. Kyle and Doc fell in behind us. As soon as Fonzie and Fowler stepped into the doorway, bullets flew within inches of their faces. They already had their weapons up, squeezing the trigger, sending those little Persian fucks to meet their virgins. "Left side clear!"
Right side clear.
We continued this pattern up the floors, alternating who the first man into the next room was. When my turn came, I had Fowler behind me. We lined up facing the door from the wall. Fowler kicked my foot to let me know the team was ready. I stepped to the doorway and immediately took 2 bullets to the chest. Fowler, who had been holding the back of my flak jacket, violently jerked me back to cover. He whipped out a grenade.
Throwing frag!
"Roger!" the other Marines shouted back. He pulled the pin and let the spoon disengage for 3 seconds and chucked it into the room. Dust rained from the trembling walls. I moaned. Flak jackets would stop bullets, but they didn't stop the force. I looked up at Doc and gave him a thumbs up. I coughed. "May have broken a rib there,"
You'll be alright, pussy. Get up.
Doc said with a smirk. Kyle, Fowler, and the Fonz rushed into the room. Doc helped me to my feet. I groaned. "God damn it!"
Left side clear!
Left side clear.
Right side clear!
Right side clear.
Any trouble breathing?
Doc kept his hand on my shoulder. "A little." I bit my lip to try to take my mind off my chest.
Sharp pain?
"It's dull."
It probably just knocked the wind out of you. You'll be alright. Try not to overexert yourself.
There's a pain in my chest. "Ow, it hurts. It hurts to laugh. Don't say anything funny." I punched the wall. "Motherfucker!" Doc helped me limp into the next room. There wasn't another doorway. There was shredded office furniture and dead Iranians. We jabbed them in the eyes to make sure they were dead. We pulled everything out of their pockets and put it in a bag to give to intel later. I took pictures of all their faces. But it hurt to stand. The platoon was scattered about the building. The Marines on the south side were exchanging fire with the building next door. The Serbot and Gunny came down from the roof. "I need 12 Marines and an axe." The 12 of us followed him to the roof. The Serbot ordered Fowler, Kyle, Fonzie, Doc, and me to hold security on the south side of the roof, but not to fire unless we were seen. We planted ourselves by the ledge and pointed our weapons towards the next building. There's some kind of radio tower antenna on the roof. The Serbot took the axe and chopped at the base. The other Marines held onto it so it wouldn't tip. When the tower was severed completely, the Serbot ordered it placed between the 2 buildings. Besides the Marines firing through the south side of the building, the rest of the platoon was brought to the roof. "Range of file across the tower. Follow me." The Serbot went first. When the platoon was positioned on the next roof, Kyle and Fonz grabbed the Marines from inside the building and we crossed over. Now, I hate heights. I always have. It would have been easier to crawl across it, but time wouldn't allow it. And that would have killed my aching chest. I just hoped that I wouldn't get shot again and fall 5 stories and splat on the street below. When we were all across, we staged by the doorway leading downstairs. The Serbot looked us over and said, "If you haven't already, fix your fucking bayonets. You get close enough to anyone and stick it right up in them and fucking turn." The Serbot nodded at Fowler, who kicked down the door. Mick Bland simultaneously lobbed in 3 grenades. The Serbot screamed, "I become death, destroyer of worlds," and ran muzzle first down the hall, his whole platoon behind him. We quickly cleared the top floor. The grenades Mick Bland threw killed in a few Persian occupants. The enemies on the floor behind us fired up the ladder wells. "Sometimes fuck you ain't enough," the Serbot grumbled, putting an entire can of Copenhagen in his mouth. "Who still has frags?" A few of the Marines produced grenades. "Sending him some love letters, sir?" "Yeah, stand by." The Serbot grabbed his radio. "All stations, this is Cat 1 actual. Prepare to fire on that first floor of the building I'm currently occupying with 50 caliber and 7.62. He nodded at the Marines with the grenades, and then back to the radio. He ordered, "Fire!" The building shook. The fire was so loud that we had to use hand and arm signals to communicate. We charged downstairs, firing at anything we thought was moving. We quickly cleared the 4th floor and moved down to the 3rd. Fowler, Kyle, Doc, the Fonz, and I cleared a room with nothing in it. When Fowler turned to step out, a Persian we somehow missed lunged at him. But before he could reach him, Fowler threw his rifle, bayonet first, towards the enemy, sticking him right in the chest. The soldier grasped the weapon sticking out of his body, desperately trying to pull it out. Fowler grabbed his M4, put his boot on the Iranian's chest, and yanked out the weapon, then shot him in the face. Our group was the first down the stairway. We had gone past the feelings of fear and dread to pure rage. I forgot about the pain in my ribs. The moment we hit the bottom of the stairs, half an Iranian platoon emerged from the adjacent rooms and charged us. "Fuck!" We started blasting. Bullets ripped the air. When they got too close, we jabbed our bayonets in their guts, twisting and slicing out. The Marines behind and above us fired into the Persians. Bonzi dug his shoulder into one of the soldiers' guts, flipping down the ladder well. When he hit the first floor, rounds from the trucks shredded his body. Kyle emptied his magazine into a soldier. Another one came after. Kyle dropped his weapon. He grabbed the Persian by the neck and slammed his head into the wall. Then he beat the enemy's face into a crater with his bare fists. Doc punched a soldier in the throat. When he staggered back, grasping for air, Doc grabbed the enemy's rifle and beat him to death with his own weapon. Fowler uppercut one with his buttstock, and when the soldier hit the ground, Fowler stomped on his neck. I was tackled. When I hit the ground, I had the wind knocked back out of me. The soldier had his hands around my neck and was going for broke. He had his fingers all the way around my trachea and was trying to punch me in the face. I couldn't breathe and I could start to feel my eyes bulge out of their sockets. I turned my head down so that his fist made contact with my helmet. He only did that twice. He was too strong. I couldn't pull his hands from my throat. I reached down to my flak and grabbed my K-bar. I stuck my blade in his gut and looked up at him. His grip loosened, but he still had some fight left. I dragged the knife around his gut and felt his intestines fall on me. He tried to stand up, but only faltered back, and I stood up over him. He had a look of absolute anguish. I could only see despair and pain in his eyes. He grabbed at his entrails and tried to shove them back into his belly. I grabbed him by the hair and leaned down into his face. "Look at me!" His eyes met mine. He looked at me as if he recognized me. Then he set his gaze on my dagger. "Oh, this?" I taunted him. "I don't see any of you with these. You know why we have knives? So we can get close to the enemy." "Yasmina." "What?" I yanked his head closer. "What the fuck did you just say?" He could see the look of confusion in my eyes. He grinned and spat a mouthful of blood in my face. "Fuck you!" I stuck my blade in his windpipe and reciprocated it in and out until his lifeless skull was severed. Then I kept stabbing his chest until Doc and Fowler pulled me off. Fowler shook me.
Dude, Kodak, calm down.
Doc wrapped his arms around me.
It's okay, man. We're all on edge. Don't let it get to you, man. Don't let it get to you.
I stuck my K-bar in the wall and kneeled before the headless soldier. I started digging through his pockets, pulling out anything I could find. Old watch, cell phone, wallet! I opened it looking for something I hoped wasn't there. I found it. I was still breathing hard, and it was still hard to breathe.
What's up, man?
I handed him what I found.
Fuck.
Doc's eyes grew wide.
What are you two barking about?
Doc showed him what was in his hands. 2 photographs. One was the exact same photo Kennedy had in her room of her family. The other was of Kennedy and me at Laguna Beach. I just slaughtered my girlfriend's father. My hands fell to my sides. I just cut off my girlfriend's father's fucking head. Fowler was visibly shocked. Other Marines gathered around and looked at the photos and the man's severed head. Fowler called the lieutenant.
Sir, you might want to take a look at this.
Yeah, hold on a minute. The Serbot told the trucks to cease fire and radioed company that the building was clear. Okay, what's up? Fowler handed the Serbot the photos.
Allensworth just killed his girlfriend's old man.
The Serbot squinted in confusion. What the fuck? He examined the photos. What in the actual fuck? He looked over his hands at me. Kodak, what the fuck is this fucking shit? She said her dad was always gone. Huh? My girlfriend, Kennedy, she has those same pictures on her wall in her room back in Oceanside. I ripped off my Kevlar, gripping my hair, and stared at the floor, my mind blank. The Serbot kneeled down beside me. Listen, Marine. He looked down at the soldier's headless corpse. How the fuck did you end up dating an enemy officer's daughter? I don't know, sir. Okay, I'm gonna send you to the chaplain and he can sort this out. No, sir. I looked up at him. I don't want to lead the fight. You sure? Fuck, sir. What? If that happens, I'm gonna lose my fucking mind. Are you positive you'll be able to keep your head in the game? Yes, sir. Okay, well, either way, when we're done with Al-Qut, I need you to take this to the intel section. I can do that, sir. Okay, good. The Serbot stood up and ordered everyone back to the trucks. He pulled Fowler aside. Keep an eye on Kodak. I stood there with Kennedy's father's head in my hands. Fowler brought me my helmet and knife.
We gotta go, dude.
Fuck! I threw the head out the window full force, snatched my gear, and followed the platoon back outside. When we got back to the truck, I pulled the Kevlar plates out of my flak jacket. The front one was shattered and wouldn't be able to take another bullet, so I put it in the back and put the back one in the front. I had a reasonably higher chance of getting shot in the chest than from behind. I heard Kyle ask,
What'd you do now, Fonz?
I looked up to see Doc putting a bandage around Fonzie's head. I got clipped in the ear. No big deal.
With that on top of what you got going on your forehead, you're gonna be one ugly motherfucker.
Yeah, but I'll still be going ass to mouth with your sister.
And your sunglasses will still fit. You'll be alright, Fonz.
Doc finished his mending.
Did anyone else get hit?
A couple guys in the other section got scraped. I don't know if they're getting medevaced or if it's not that bad.
Kyle checked his magazines. Fowler chimed in.
One of them got a bullet in the leg, and the other one shrapnel in the face. Hopefully he was wearing his eye protection. I really don't want to hear First Sergeant bitch about this.
That and keeping his eyes.
Yeah, that too.
Fowler kept his eyes on the street.
You know, these Iranian dudes are tough. But they're not as hard as Tommy Taliban, and the damn Taliban was harder than fucking Mahdi's army.
That's because the Taliban was living in mud huts and caves and were fucking roughing it. I took a long swig from my canteen. These fucks are posh in comparison. They got food, water, equipment, uniforms, the whole 9 yards. Oh, I got 9 yards for them, Fonzie said, pulling out a belt of 50 caliber ammo. Hey, McBland, trade places with me. McBland climbed down and the Fonz settled into the turret.
How y'all doing?
McBland said through a mouth of chewing tobacco.
Oh, you know, living the fucking dream.
I would hate to see your nightmares.
Cat 1 pulled through the city blocks, providing heavy machine gun fire for the line companies. Us dismounts walked behind the vehicles and provided security for the Marines clearing the buildings. The Iranians weren't in every building, but they were crawling the streets. Every time a Russian-looking firearm would protrude through a wall or a muzzle flash through a window, Fonzie would blow holes in the building until it crumbled. The Fonz produced about 15 swear words per round, and the Ma Deuce fired about 500 rounds a minute. I'll let you do the math. One night in Al-Qud, during a lull in the fighting, we taunted him about that. Fonzie, you're from Mexico, right? El Salvador, you fucking racist. Yeah, but that's like the same place, right? I lit a cigarette. The Fonz smiled and gave me the finger.
But you are Catholic.
Yeah? So?
Well, what about all the killing and swearing you do?
What about it?
That's not very Christ-like.
Doc French inhaled his smoke. Now, that argument's bullshit, man. Christians think that the point of going to heaven is to be moral, and it's not. It's to be close to God, and they don't translate it right. In the original context of Paul's letters, he swore all the damn time. And you know what Jesus would do? Be covered in blood and shoot fiery sword out of his mouth and kill everyone in a fucking sight or hearing. And think about this. Remember when God led the Hebrews out of Egypt and into the promised land and told them to kill all the Canaanites and kill all their stocks and burn their farms, the ground, and offer no quarter or they would forever be a thorn in the Hebrew side? Yeah. Well, Arabs are the descendants of people the Israelis didn't kill. Killing them is God's work, and if the fucking Jews would have done what God told them to do, then we wouldn't be here right now. Fonz reached into his cargo pocket. And that's why I have this. I didn't know what I was expecting Fonzie to pull out. A cross, a Star of David, maybe a necklace of severed Persian ears. But it wasn't any of that. The Fonz held up a plastic bag full of penises. Mine and Doc's smiles dropped to a mouth breather's facial expression. Saul told David that if he wanted to marry his daughter, he had to bring back a bunch of Philistine foreskins. How many of the... Oh, God, I shook my head. Wait, if this is about foreskins, why do you have the whole schlongs?
Better question.
Doc interrupted.
When have you been getting the time to do this?
Yeah, just whenever I can, the Fonz shrugged.
And Saul isn't your CO and you're not banging his daughter. Are you gonna propose with these?
Doc smiled. I don't know. Fonzie tossed the bag to Doc. Doc caught it and in the same movement dropped it to the ground. The bag spilled its contents into the street.
Oh, gross, dude!
Oh, you spilled my stash! You'll be alright. I nudged the lifeless, flaccid penises with my boot. Dude, when you grabbed these things, you weren't thinking about giving up MREs, were you? Fuck you. Doc reached down and grabbed one of them.
This dude was hung like a fucking horse!
He started swinging it around the air like a sword. Doc raised the dick over his head, brandishing it like a knight from the Middle Ages.
I challenge you to a duel!
I jumped back. Get that fucking thing away from me! Doc swung the meat sword, hitting it on the truck and the walls of the building we were parked beside.
Behold!
He declared in a terrible English accent.
I, Sir Arthur, have pulled the cock from the stone. Kneel before me, as I am the predestined king of all the Britons.
While Doc continued his theatrics, I said to the Fonz, so, David, and you got a bunch of cocks to prove your worth in marriage. Well, that's not why I'm doing it. Instead of going to Jared's, are you just gonna fashion jewelry out of dicks? Don't go there, man. One might even say you proposed with a cock ring. The Fonz laughed. Ah, you're fucked up, man. You're the one with a bag of cocks, Dick Skinner. Yeah, well. The Fonz pointed his thumb at Doc, who was still slaying imaginary dragons. At least I'm not playing with the things. He'll probably be sucking on it here in a few minutes.
Hey, man. Anything's a dildo if you're brave enough.
Doc, quit acting like a fucking queer.
Sergeant Fowler appeared out of nowhere. He stood beside Fonzie and me, staring at the pile of dicks on the ground.
What the fuck is this horse shit?
War trophies. Fonzie didn't miss a beat. Fowler gave the Fonz a look of confusion and disgust, then shook his head.
You fuckers got problems.
Hey, so Sergeant, do we know anything new?
Well, we know why we haven't seen any civilians running around. First Marine found a bunch of mass graves on the northeast side of the city.
Doc stopped playing with his dick. Fonzie and I were silent.
Looks like the Iranians didn't even bother shooting them. They just threw them in, buried them, and shot anyone trying to climb out.
That's fucked up. I tried to think of what combat care Marines were in that unit. He would have had to document that. I'm really happy that wasn't us that found that.
Me too. Who's got a smoke?
I offered him my pack. Do you know where our situation is? Fowler lit the cigarette.
1st and 3rd Battalions pushed across the river and are pushing in Haji's shit. We're supposed to hang out here and not let them get through. The Army PSYOPs guys dropped a bunch of leaflets on them last night, telling them if they surrender, they'll get food, water, and all that good shit. So if they come with a white flag, don't shoot them.
You do realize the irony of that statement with a Jolly Roger flying on your truck, right?
Yeah, I don't call the shots, man. If I did, we would have burned this place to the ground in 2006. There wouldn't be anything here for Iran to invade besides sand and brass.
Fowler looked at Doc.
How long have you had that thing?
Doc still had the severed penis in his hand.
This?
He tossed it to Fowler. Fowler leaned out of the Cox path.
The fuck, dude?
He gave Doc a dirty look.
Anyway, the Crunchies were all dug into buildings waiting for the regiments to push Haji to us. We're doing support by fire.
So, pretty much chill out and wait for a call to go kick ass?
More or less.
Well, something better happens soon. I don't think the Fonz has killed anybody in about 2 days, and I don't want him getting that itch. The Fonz shrugged. Meh. The next few days were relatively quiet. There were a few firefights, but none of them lasted for more than a few minutes. Doc and I were on watch. It was about 2 in the morning, and we were on the roof of a building near our trucks. I looked into the city. The power wasn't out in Al-Qud, but half of everything had been destroyed. The Marines have a pretty solid policy on leveling things that aren't easy to access. There was one bridge that I could see. The lights shined, a golden reflection off the Tigris. I stood there thinking about how many ways Iraq was nothing like Afghanistan. For instance, the battalion that relieved us on my second deployment got chewed up pretty bad. When they showed up, they didn't listen to us when we tried to tell them the wars were different. They said, "We're good. We just got back from Iraq. We know what we're doing." And they paid for it. But that battalion went looking for the fight, those magnificent bastards. But I digress. Like Afghanistan, Iraq was actually a very beautiful place. I didn't get to know any of the Iraqis, but the Afghans were the most polite and hospitable people on the planet. You know, when they weren't trying to kill you. Hey, Doc.
What's up, man?
Remember that chick in Lashkar Gah?
The one with the tits?
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, I thought it was awesome that she kept coming back for Pop-Tarts.
And she was old enough to be smoking hot, but not too old that she had to wear that brickish shit.
Yeah. You know, man, I miss Afghanistan.
Yeah?
Yeah, man, I mean, I'm glad I'm here instead of sitting around with my thumb up my ass stateside, but I actually miss Afghanistan.
What do you mean?
The landscape was prettier, the food was good when we got it, and the people there actually seemed to appreciate what we were doing for them.
Yeah, man, that people piss me off. Not the Afghans, but the liberals back home always talking about how all we did was kill women and children. And I'm like, listen, cocksucker, we're here helping these people. What the fuck have you done with your life? Oh, cool. You let your parents pay for your college and banged a bunch of sluts and drank a bunch of beer and partied and got a minuscule job pushing a pen around and sucking your boss's cock, and now you live some boring ass monotonous life and you've never actually done anything that matters and you've never fucking lived. Fucking pussy ass no lifting motherfuckers.
Why don't you tell me how you really feel?
No, seriously, man. There's nothing to do in America. Being a warrior is the only thing that sets us apart. Most people live day to day doing the same things, and the weeks blur together because nothing ever changes, and they think they're better because they think they're standing on some moral high ground by refusing to fight. Well, guess what, motherfuckers? That's what human history is about. That's the only thing that's never changed. War is the way of man. If we ever go to outer space and find aliens, we'll probably fight them too. I just fucking hate the liberal pussy-ass mindset that peace and love can fucking solve everything. That hippie shit pisses me off. And the conservatives are just as fucking bad.
Oh yeah? Enlighten me.
Well, most of them talk like they're all high and mighty, but the most hardcore thing they've ever done was go fucking deer hunting. I mean, I don't hate them as much because they're not spitting their shit on the news. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, as long as they show up to fight, they have my respect. But fuck, I respect the Taliban more than I respect most of our politicians. At least the Mooj gets it that if you want something done, you have to fight for it and not just send some poor-ass cocksuckers to do it for you.
You think of it like that?
Not like that. I mean, I'm not here because some asshole in Washington sent me. I didn't join the Marine Corps because I hated Iraqis or Afghans. I joined because there was a war going on and there was something to get got and I wanted to get some. I'm not a fucking bitch like the rest of this fucking generation is. I mean, I know I'm probably not going to make it this far in life, but I won't ever have to wonder if what I did in life mattered. I'm trying to avoid people asking me why I didn't do something. Like when I was in high school, I had this anatomy teacher who gave us a little history of Mr. Hoop's story, and he said he was born in '48. I asked him if he went to Vietnam, and he said no. I was about to call him out on being a fucking bitch, but he said, I saw Vietnam on TV and went to join the army, but they made me a medic and stationed me in Germany. I can't hate on him for that, at least he fucking tried. That's what I'm doing. I'm fucking trying. I know we're all gonna die someday anyway, but I'll be happy knowing I fucking did my part. Doc looked over the desert.
I hear you, man. You get it. It's just the way things are, and no one in the States appreciates anything anymore. I mean, think of the kids you went to high school with. I remember one kid whose family was poor as shit, and he wore the same thing to school every day because that's all he had. Then you had those rich kids who never wore the same thing twice, and the emo kids. What the fuck did they have to be upset about? Oh my god, your mom didn't buy you the new phone. Fuck you, you fucking pussy. If you're gonna appreciate life, you have to struggle with it. Enlist in the military, not the Air Force, but the military. And don't be an officer. Go eat dirt, live in filth, embrace the suck. And when you're done, you're set for life. It's not like you're never gonna have financial or personal issues after that, but you're for goddamn sure never gonna take cold water or a fucking bed for granted again.
I'm gonna have to disagree with that.
Why?
Because there's only 2 branches in the military. Doc raised an eyebrow.
How so?
The military is the Army and the Navy. The Air Force is a corporation, and the Marine Corps is a fucking cult.
Okay, I get that. But I'm fighting to fight, and to fight with my brothers. If I die, that's okay. Those faggots that say, I'm not shooting because I don't want to go and die for ideas I don't believe in, are pussy-ass do-nothing faggot slots of wasted airspace. Sure, admin and supply guys are fucking pogues.
I'm a pogue.
Yeah, but you're a cool pogue. You're out here.
Yeah, okay.
But admin and supply, they're doing their part. They're not holding up signs saying, no blood for oil, or some other bullshit like that. What pisses me off is that the wars didn't even really affect anyone in the States. There hasn't been a fucking draft. What the fuck do those loudmouth pieces of shit have to lose? And what the fuck are they complaining about? If it doesn't affect you, shut up and let the warriors war for whatever reason we want. It's an all-volunteer force and we joined to go fight the enemy. If we're bad people for it, then all I have to say is, come at me, bro.
I hear you, man. I just wish there was a better stance for us to argue from than pretending like it's a crusade against Islam.
Huh?
Now think about it. Islam is the reason everyone's so fucked up, right?
Yeah?
Wrong. Indonesia has the largest Muslim population on the planet, and they're not being a bunch of fucking cuts. They're fighting terrorism. You know who's next?
Iran?
India has the 2nd largest Muslim population, and they're fucking up the Pakistanis. It's not a problem with Islam. It's not even really a problem with Arabs. I know plenty of them that are great human beings. Them and Pashtuns and Persians, and damned if they don't kick some ass and their women aren't beautiful. The problem is when you combine the two. The problem in the world is Arab Muslims.
That's debatable.
How?
Well, think about it. Back in the day, the Middle East was the center of the world as far as math, science, literature, medicine, and everything. Europe was in the Dark Ages and eating shit and fucking their sisters, and Arabia was up high. Then they pissed off Genghis Khan, and he literally fucked this place up so hard that they still haven't actually recovered. Did you know that Baghdad isn't the old Baghdad? When the Mongols destroyed it, the locals rebuilt it across the river.
I did not know that.
Yeah, so I don't know if it's really the Muslims or Arabs' problem, but they'd probably be more advanced than we are now if they didn't fuck with the Khan.
No, either way, there's something rotten in the state of Denmark.
What?
Never mind.
Have you written to Kennedy yet?
No, I don't know what to say, man.
I don't either, but you have to say something.
Like what? Dear Kennedy, I finally met your family. I cut your dad open like he was a fucking Thanksgiving turkey.
I don't know if you have to go that far.
Well, the fuck then?
I don't know. I've gotten a few letters from Reagan. She's all pissed off that I haven't been writing her. But it's like, I'm sorry, I'm kind of fighting a fucking war.
Yeah, the sting of tears grew behind my eyes. I don't know what to do, man. I don't know if I could live with myself if I didn't tell her. But if I do, there's no way she'd stay.
She might, man.
I looked at Doc in the eye and said, don't bullshit me, man.
Yeah, you're fucked either way.
My eyes started to water. Doc put his hand on my shoulder.
Hey, man. It's not the worst thing that's ever happened to you. It's not like we were gonna marry those strippers.
I forced a smile, but I could tell my eyes were bleeding. I did what I normally did when life's just a little bit too much to handle and lit a cigarette.
I know shit sucks, man, but you have to tell her. If you don't, you're gonna live with it bottled up forever. Or worse, you'll marry her and cave in and tell her when you're 50 and just have to face it then, and she'll leave with the kids and your bank account and you'll be alone with nothing but me and your Jeep.
Doc was right. When we got off post the next morning, I sat down and because I couldn't find any paper, wrote on a piece of cardboard. Yasmina, I'm sorry I haven't written to you. I know you're worried and that the news on TV can't be helping with the situation. I'm alive. I haven't been seriously wounded, and for the most part, I'm in all right spirit. I miss you. I miss you dearly. You're the only thing I think about, and I dream of the time when again you're in my arms. I'm looking into your deep sea eyes and holding your long, beautiful black hair. I don't know how to say this. I can't think of any way that I really can. Whatever I'm about to write, when I'm done, whatever you decide to do, I'll understand. However much it may tear me apart, just remember that I am so afraid of losing you. We're in a city named Al-Qud. We were clearing buildings during an assault, and I killed an Iranian officer. And when we kill people, we have to go through their pockets to see if there's anything that has intelligence value. This officer had a picture in his wallet of you and me, and the same picture of you and your father that you have in your bedroom. His identification named him as Mir Al-Aziz Mohammed Cassandra Zaidan. This is what I think it is. For whatever it's worth, I'm sorry. Hank Thomas Allensworth.
Hey everybody, thanks for listening to Smokepit Fairytales Chapter 8. I'd like to thank my voice actors, Matt Kevsey-Cavisters, Chuck Lavaki, and Eric Pickle. Thank you Patreon people and War Chest people. You know, people who follow me on Patreon and help support the channel, as well as people who have gotten the War Chest, which are the 6 first books of this series inside of a custom painted ammo can. I'm doing all these on the same day, man. Editing's gonna be fun the next few days, if this stuff even makes it up on the fucking YouTube. Hey, whatever, dude. If you're seeing this, thanks for sticking around. All right, catch you later.